welcome to another one in the series of the Ellis Clark Trains how-to videos. In this episode we're going to have a little look at the Wickham trolley and how to fit the detail pack and what the items in the detail pack are. Then later on in this episode we're going to go over the fitting of the crew figures. First of all, what I want to do is just run through what tools I'm using and sort of why. The first item I've got is just a little container that I dispel and put some glue in or whatever I need, or little bits in, which is that one there. I've got a scalpel with me. I don't actually really need a scalpel in this instance, but I'm going to be using it for pointing, etc. A pair of tweezers, a couple of cocktail sticks for the glue. We'll come on to that later. Piece of string stroke cotton, a piece of very fine 2000 grade wet and dry, some Rocket Max super glue. Doesn't have to be Rocket Max, it can be any super glue you want. This is for gluing some of the figures in, etc. And I'm also going to use Yoo-Hoo. It's your own discretion which one you want to use. Both will work adequately enough. And obviously we're going to use a cutting mat just to protect the work surface. Okay, once we've got the Wickham out of the box, you'll notice within the box there's a little bag that's got the detail packs in it, or the detail pack in it. What we're going to do is just tip this out onto here, and first of all I'm just going to go through what items are in the detail pack. I use the tweezers just to pick them up. The first one is a little toolbox. You can either fit that in the Wickham or in the trailer, so I'll just pop that one to one side. The next item, there's two of them, are these. The left and right handed, and these are the roller blinds that go underneath the gutter line on the Wickham itself. Next, a little piece of brass. I'll just hold it on my finger, and it does actually say Wickham on it. I'll come back onto that in a few moments. You get two coupling hooks which work between the Wickham and the trailer, so one of them's a spare. This plate here is an etched brass plate painted black. This is the radiator cover, or the radiator grille cover, should you want it fastened for winter conditions. All you do is just glue it on. I will show you how to do it, but I'm not actually going to fit it on this Wickham. And the next items, in case you're not quite sure, they look like a pair of skis. In some ways they are. They're the ramps that were used in conjunction with this item on the Wickham here, which they unbolted off, and it's a little turntable for turning the Wickham round on the track. And the next item is a gauge setter to set these to gauge. So in model form we're not actually going to be using these, we're going to be gluing them on the vehicle. I'm going to go through how to fit those. So they are the items in the detail pack. The first thing I'm going to do with the detail pack is use the 2000 grade wet and dry, which is probably one of the smoothest you can find. You can get it from Halfords or any car accessory shop. Sold in A4 sheets, and one sheet will do you for a long time. All I'm going to basically do is get the Wickham logo, put it face down on it, and with my thumb I'm just going to gently move it around, and it'll just take off the black paint on the letters, leaving us with Wickham showing through. You could probably see that there now. If I move away, it doesn't take long to do. You don't have to force it. Don't use a file. Use some really fine wet and dry paper. As you can see now, you can see it saying Wickham with the W and the logo of the company itself. So that's that little bit ready to go. Now I'm going to move on to the actual model itself, and the first items I'm going to fit are the blinds. Now as you can see, the blinds have got a little cutout there on both sides which correspond with this item here, this bar here. So you need to make sure when you're fitting them you get them the right way around, because the way I'm fitting that now, it looks correct but it's not. That one's this side. If you look at it, you'll see that we've got a little lip there. That little lip needs to sit underneath the gutter like so. as you can see there. If I use the other one, it does look like it fits, but then they hang down too far and they don't sit underneath, hooked under. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to capillary out some glue. So if you just bear with me a second, I'm going to use a little bit of UU on this, just for speed. Doesn't need tons on, it just needs enough to hold them. And then all I'm going to do is just a little bit of glue run down that little strip there. You could use super glue if you want. The only thing with super glue, just be a little bit cautious you don't get anything near the windows, because it will whiten the window, and that's the last thing you want on your model, because you can't get it off then. Just make sure they're located underneath. There we go. That's that side done now. Just going to turn it round and I'll repeat the process again for you on this side. Same again, make sure that we've got the little lip there ready to sit underneath the gutter. So I'm just going to put a little bit more UU on there. And there's your 2 blinds fitted. Next item I'm going to do, on the front of the model here, on the top of the radiator there, in this area, I'm going to put a tiny little bit of super glue. So I'm just going to capillary some out and use the other end of the cocktail stick, and I'm just going to put a tiny little blob on there. Look, that's all we're going to do. In fact, probably is finer than that. I'm trying to work backwards. I would have normally this facing me, but I'm trying to make it so you can see me. And these are quite small little. Make sure you get the Wickham the right way up, not upside down. Pop him central, because the window has got a centre bar in it. So if you work to that and just bring it back across, make sure it's level, and that's the little Wickham logo on. Some had them on, some were probably stolen by enthusiasts, or just, you know, just never got on all the lives. You're entirely up to the model that you're doing. Next item we're going to fit on the detail pack is slightly different. These items here, these are the 3 ramps, or part of the ramp that turns the trolley round on the track like so. We could, if we wanted, glue them into the trolley that comes with the Wickham, which is totally fine. No problem with that at all. However, what I've been doing on the weathered ones, there was 2 positions for them. They were actually fastened across the back here sometimes, on the like bumper bar there. Or another place that we've seen pictures of them is they were fastened here on the side like so. You could also at any stage now, before you put any on, if you want to paint any in a sort of a browny sort of rust colour, chocolatey rust colour, rather than being black, you could do. So they were fitted like so. So what I'm going to do on this one, I'm actually going to fit them to the side of the Wickham, rather than them being on the actual trolley. And I'm just going to put a couple of little blobs of super glue on the end there, and another one about 20mm further up, and then we'll just drop these on. There's no right or wrong on this, it's exactly how the crew would do it. If you think of somebody working out of a van all day long, somebody's van's going to be different to another chap's van from the same company. How he puts his tools is entirely up to him himself. And they're just sat in between like so. Now, we could just leave it like that, but what I like to do is the following. I like to get a piece of string and just cut it in half, and I'm going to turn the Wickham on its side, because I am working so you can see it. I'm trying to make it the best way for you, so you can see down into there now, hopefully. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put that through like so. I'm not going to do anything too fancy. I'm just going to do a little knot like that, We'll use this tweezers to bring it back through on itself. Because bear in mind that I've tied these on. This is a day before bungees and load straps, that I just used some rope that they had in the back of their wagons, in the back, you know, laid around at the yard or something. I'm just going to use a little bit of super glue just to secure the knot at the back, and then we're going to redo it again. Now you could actually as well, which is what I do on the weathered ones, I normally weather this string down to a sort of a dirty grey colour, so it looks like it's a bit of old rope that they've been using. And then same again, pull that through, fasten it underneath, sorry about that, fasten it underneath like so. I just think it adds a little bit of a touch to your model, rather than the easiest way, which would be to just glue them in the back, and that would be it. All I'm then going to do, I'm just going to use my scalpel, just bear with me a moment, I'm just going to cut them back like so. There we go. And then we've got the tools fastened on with a little bit of rope. And that is really the detail pack. The last item on the detail pack really is the toolbox. Entirely up to you where you want it to go. It could go in the back in the trailer, or you could just pop it, glue it there underneath. On this one I think we'll just pop it under a seat. A little bit of super glue on it. Pop it under a seat like so. There we go. Things don't have to be straight, it's just been thrown in. And that is the detail pack fitted. Right, let's move now on to the next part, which is fitting the crew. Now the crews that we sell from ourselves are white metal. They come 5 figures, fully painted with a selection of tools. The Wickham themselves, or the Wickham itself, weighs 50 grams. If you fit the white metal figures to it, it weighs another 50 grams. So you're doubling the weight of the Wickham to 100 gram. Now with the best will in the world, a Wickham has very tiny wheels, has very tiny pickups. There's only so much weight we could get into it as a model. This doubles the weight, and I can tell you now it will slightly improve the running as well, because you've got a little bit more grip on the track, etc. The figures themselves come from ourselves. They do come individually wrapped, but I've taken them out just so that you can see them. So you get 5 figures fully painted, and a selection of tools with them. Now on the figures themselves, I just want to point out one particular chap. This particular man here is the driver. He's the one that's got the arm like so. The reason being is he's on the gear stick on that. The other guys you can put anywhere you want, but he is the driver. We also do a selection of figures that have got the orange fluorescent vests. They're very similar, but they're not just painted on. They do actually have a proper vest on the castings or the mouldings. The guy that's driving has a similar arm in a similar position. And I'll just get the other figures out. So you have a chap sat with a book, maybe the foreman or something like that. You have a guy that looks a bit stern with his arms crossed. You have a guy that's sat with a tool bag or something like that at the side of him. And your other guy sat with his legs crossed. And they're a variation on both ones that we sell. They are available on the website, and they come in another little box already painted and ready to go. I'm just going to get the little trailer, because he's the next bit that we're possibly going to need. Fitting the figures, the first figure I like to fit is the driver. Now the driver goes here, it's left-hand drive, he just pops in. You're probably going to need a set of tweezers to fit them in so that you can hold him round the neck, and I'm just thinking the best way to show you, and feed him in like so. Okay, so that's what we're going to achieve. It might be more useful. I fitted lots of these for people's weathered ones, so I sort of know which ones I put where. It might be worth just having a little play, because certain ones sit better in certain positions. I've found that the chap with the legs crossed seems to sit quite nicely in here when you get him in, and even I've got to remember which way he goes, and you can sort of have him with his legs sort of slightly out. Okay, they will all fit in, but some look better than others. The chap with the bag is sometimes better to have the bag on the inside of the trolley, not the outside, just because he fits better. But entirely up to you where you put them, but you might just want a trial run and try to remember. I fitted them with super glue just because when I'm doing a weathered one, they're going out, I've got lots to do, it goes off a little bit quicker. You could fit them with Yoo-hoo, but then you've probably got 15-20 minutes time for them to go off. In this instance, I'm going to fit these with some super glue, and all I'm going to do is just put some on the bum, glue on there, on the underneath, and then making sure we're on the right side for him, gently in, and pop him in, put him in position, and even with the super glue, position him where you want him to go. To bear with us, I do apologise because I'm looking from the back and I can't see right. Next one, we'll do another one on that side. We'll do the chap with the bag. So same again. There we go. It does seem better if you put the heads in first. Pop them into position. Now we've fitted two of the figures, what we're going to do is just leave it for 5 or 10 minutes just for the glue to go off. Okay, for the sake of the video, what we've done is we've fitted all the 5 figures exactly the same way with a little bit of glue on the underside. All we're going to do now, we've got a large spanner, which is one for doing the fish plates up on track work. We've got a hammer and we've got 2 shovels. Should you want to dirty or weather any of these up, you're probably best doing them before you fit them. They all come ready painted, they're a white metal. All I'm going to use is a tiny little bit of super glue on them. You can bend them a little bit if you need to. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there and a little bit on the handle. And I try to put them in fairly randomly. I don't want them to be 90 degrees. I just want them as if they've been thrown in and judded about in the back of the trolley. Try not to make it uniformal, almost sort of try to just throw them in as if they've just thrown a load of tools in the back. Right, as you can see there, that's the tools fitted. There's no right or wrong way of fitting the tools. It's however, if you want them at one side, you could put them to the end of the trolley, whatever you want. This is also a stage now where if you wanted to put, you know, bit of tarpaulin in the back out of some paper or some tissue paper or something, you could do that. You could individualize the model as much as you want. And there we go, that's the Wickham trolley and its little trailer all together with its detail pack fitted, the crew fitted and the tools in the back. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If there's anything that you would like us to do a video on, please see the comments box below, and I hope to do a video again soon for you. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.